Last YouTube video, when Bitcoin was breaking out of a micro triangle roughly where the jiggling price label is right now, around 26,400, we spoke about and discussed the very strong likelihood that Bitcoin would interact with three key areas roughly at 28,200 up to 29,400, and this is what the beginning of that video looked like. Today we're going to talk about All right, so Bitcoin went up two resistances higher, or about $1,500, up to what I call the bottom of the point of control of what is an eight-month long channel. So it got rejected from the bottom of the middle. And this channel has been going on since November. So actually October. Yeah, actually November. November is back here, and it's been in this channel ever since. The BlackRock spot ETF news likely influenced price to blast through those three resistance areas that I discussed in the last video. So we're going to figure out, hey, is this going to lead to something bigger? Because it really could. So let's dive in and let's go get some Bitcoin. You ready? Let's get it. Let's take a look at what has happened. Let's run a quick live area here. And I am going to go ahead and run it back from when Bitcoin broke out of my little triangle. That was roughly here. And we were covering price right at the breakout of this black area. And price was roughly at 26.4, something to this effect. Somewhere over here. And I mentioned it's going to get sucked up into this try area, which you can see here. And I made a kind of a fancy video. Spent a little time making it entertaining for you. And it flew past it. It really did flew with this BlackRock news. And it was unexpected, right? News-driven price action. So here's the big question. Can the news-driven price action maintain the buy pressure as it potentially makes a higher low somewhere? I mean, the higher low could be somewhere around 29.9. It could be around 29.4, or it could be as low as at the bottom of the 8-month long channel around 28.3. And the big idea about 28.3 is that there is a quarterly open just above 28.3, which is just above the bottom of an 8-month long channel, and 28.2 very close to the quarterly open, 3-month candle open, very big deal. And it closes in 2.5 days. So Friday at 8 p.m. New York time, the 3-month candle closes. So there will be a backfill for the next 3-month and monthly candle. Is that making sense? All right. And so backfilling so the current 3-month candle is what you call a spinning top. It's got a really squished body and wicks on each side. It's not quite a doji candle or a dragonfly doji or anything like that, but it's more like a spinning top candle. And so it's very small. So the next monthly candle is very, very likely at some point going to touch 28,475. But in doing so, it has a strong likelihood of coming down to this general area of interest, 28.3, which is the bottom of the 8-month long channel, or 28.2, and that's the area from which Bitcoin capitulated from 28K and it eventually went down to 15,500 by November, and that happened almost exactly 1 year ago to this day. It was in mid-late June of 2022. So this line right here, how did I get rid of myself with a button? I've never done that before. That was an accident. That was cool. I'm going to have to figure out how I did that. So this line right here, okay, is the capitulation line. So I'm going to extend it a little bit so you can see that. See that red line right here where I'm pointing? So there's a ton of area of interest. So because Bitcoin flew past that area where I had all the cool, dancing stuff with music in my last video, because it flew past it without respecting it. So see how it didn't respect or even slow down in this area? It's likely going to have to come touch at least this is an origin line. It goes back 13 years in price history. It's the most macro object on this entire chart. So I fully expect a pullback at least to go to roughly 29.4. Okay. But you have that quarterly backfill. Now, does a quarterly backfill have to happen in the first month? It usually does if it's going to be green. So if next month, if July is green and then August is red and goes below the opening of July month, that's going to be pretty bad. That's going to be mid-macro bad for Bitcoin. Like, it's going to delay any hopes of a bull run for quite a while if that were to happen. So pay attention to the monthly and the 3-month candle for the next 3 months, especially starting by July 1st. I cannot stress that enough. So let's go ahead and take a look at what price did, and it just watch it blow past my targets with the news-driven price action. Okay, so I think it is, I think it's okay to make the loose assumption, and so this is like voodoo TA, what I'm about to say. I think it's a correct yet loose assumption that my areas would not have been blasted through had that ETF news not come out, right? It's kind of safe to say that, but maybe I was just plain wrong, right? Maybe I'm making an excuse for being, my streak ended, right? I was on fire. Like literally getting stuff to the $10 and stuff for 2 weeks at a time. I had a 2-week stretch where everything, like Bitcoin literally moved where I pointed to. Right? Given 3 general options, and it went to my first most likely, for 2 weeks straight. And then I was wrong, right? So I might be a little bit, trying to make an excuse for being wrong. However, I think it's reasonable to say my targets would have ended up being true resistance, and price wouldn't have blown past it without the news, but maybe that's not true, right? So I think that's kind of a shabby, easy way out of a streak being ended, but my streak definitely ended. So let's zoom into here. Let me make myself small, and let's take a look at what happened. So here we go. Gonna do the magic replay button, which I strongly suggest you all do too. I'm gonna go to the 30-minute chart, and let's watch it. So that's the origin line, and I thought price was not gonna go much above a failure pattern, which means it goes just above this blue line. I thought max this would go without news was 29.5, and it went up 2 resistance levels above my top guess of 29.5. That's the highest I saw it going, because it was going to, the 3 things that I've made the pictures about was going to create a vacuum after Bitcoin fell out of that micro triangle, right? So there, because it broke out of that black bar that I drew, then that means good. My VIP short for Discord is doing pretty well right now. That was a good alert. Haven't been able to do an alert for a while because price has been pretty tricky, and but there we go. So that's what price has done. All right, now what's going to happen? So here's the question. So you saw price move, you saw it go 2 resistance levels above what I anticipated. And if you want to know what this resistance is, back from May and June of last year, before Bitcoin capitulated from this line, price roughly did this for 30 days. And so this was the top of the range of a horizontal range. Price did not move like this for once. Usually price does this, but last year, late April through late June, it went in a horizontal like this with a few wicks above it, and generally this was the top. And this is exactly where it capitulated 28.2. That's what this line is. And again, this line right here, which it touched almost perfectly, is the exact bottom of the point of control of the 8-month long channel. This line has been here for about 5 months. This line has been here for 5 months. This line has been here for quite a while. I think this is a new addition. I think it's only like 2 or 3 months old, but it's a 13-year-old line, right? But I just realized, hey, it's cutting through all of our price action. So origin line goes to the very origin of price. If you want to, for new viewers, maybe have your mind blown, zoom out to the 2-day chart. Oh, this doesn't go to the index, does it? This isn't really the right chart to look at it on, but it is. Do you see this fat line? I made the line fat. That fat line, which essentially took, it touches Bitcoin when it was like $5. See that? It's the same line. It hasn't been touched. This line has not been touched since Bitcoin was at $5. Because this area here was the bottom of Bitcoin bear markets, the 2 bear markets in a row. when Bitcoin dropped from about 1,300 down to about 180 bucks, and then 20K down to 3,200 bucks, and then the coronavirus dump in March of 2020, April of 2020 brought it down to 4K. That's the first time that line was ever broken, and then Bitcoin went down farther than it had ever gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 origin lines below its previous 12-year support, or about 10-year support. 10, 11-year support. And so this line, that's what that white line is on the other exchange chart right here. Oh yeah, I do have it so you can see it. Bam, check that shit out. There you go, right there. That's that same line. See that white line? Does it hit it roughly at $5 also? Yeah, so the other one's not the index chart. So it actually hits it when Bitcoin was $1. So this line has not been touched since Bitcoin was $1. Isn't that crazy? All right, and returning viewers, this is when you hit the like button to help out your content creator. Okay, so here's how to deal with stuff. I'm not gonna throw indicators at you, although large time frame indicators are starting to flip bullish, especially the oscillating ones. I'm not gonna cover them all. I bet a bunch of YouTubers are already talking about it, but you're gonna have MACD on the weekly or monthly flipping up. They're like the large term time stuff are just barely starting to flip up, but the very large ones are curling up to begin getting out of the bearish zone. And then the weekly oscillating indicators are just getting out of the bearish zone, starting to actually, get some headway there. And so this could end up being a big deal. But, however, let's take a look. I have some concerns about this. Like, I still think that there's a good chance that this is not going to go much higher, and we're not going into a bull run. So if you look at it like this, take a look. Right here is the weekly 200, which essentially got the bottom of both previous bear markets. So we bounced off of it, bam, kaboom. However, look, 15.5 low right here. Take a look. Okay. So a lot of times Bitcoin's moves happen in 3 waves, up and down. 1, 2, 3. And so far, this one's weaker. If this third oscillation is of equal power as the previous 2, then it would hit the bottom or the top of this line, which would be 35 or 38, to be of equal strength. So as of now, so if Bitcoin cannot form a higher low here, which it might, and it really might, then its next target will be about 35, okay, or 36, 35 plus, to up to 38. It probably won't go over that blue line, though, on the first pass. It very, very likely won't. It likely needs to touch this blue line first down here, but it could go sideways for a long time and not go under 30K again to touch it, because this line needs to be touched. Like that's a rule that probably won't be broken, but that specific rule has never been broken. Specific to getting squeezed under this origin line by the weekly 10 EMA, it got squeezed under right here. And so this is kind of close to the weekly 10 EMA, even though I don't have it. But anyway, 100% of every time Bitcoin's been squeezed under an origin line, whether coming up from top, above it, down to it, or coming from below, failure pattern, getting squeezed under, which is what happened this time, 100% of every time, which is, I don't know, maybe 10 iterations, maybe even more, actually. It might be, actually, it is more than that. 10 to 12 iterations, it's 100% hit rate, it's gone to touch the next one down, and this line hasn't been touched. But it doesn't mean it has to go straight down. It can go sideways, or it can go up first, and then touch this line somewhere over at, 31, right? Like, it could be a nice higher low, but this line it will be touched with an exceptionally high likelihood. And my guess of it touching on July 1st, that's going to end up being very wrong because of this pump. Make sense? All right, but anyway, look, as of now, if Bitcoin cannot form a higher low, here's the key. So here's here's the second most important thing of this video. Outside of the 3-month candle open and the backfill, 28,450 roughly, just draw a line there, please, on your chart, new viewers and returning viewers. You already know to do that. So when I beg you to draw something on your chart, okay, new viewers, it's a good idea to do it. And returning viewers, you can leave a comment for the new viewers to see, saying, yeah, you might want to do it, because it's very likely going to be a key area for sometime in the next 3 months. It might not be in July. Anyway, so that's the first most important thing, but this is the second most important concept of the entire video, is if Bitcoin cannot form a strong higher low, most likely above the origin line, okay? Which from my other chart, I think I had it at 29.3 or so. Yeah, I think it was 29.4 zoomed in on the other chart. If it goes below there and does not immediately make, it needs to go immediately, like come down and immediately over the next 7 days, so 7 days immediately, make a higher high above 31.5, okay, or this local high right here. Then if it goes down and just gets weak, it's gonna get trapped under here. Therefore, this third oscillation will have been weaker, and this is gonna come down. It's gonna go below that weekly 200. So what I'm saying here is, so here's the, in a nutshell, just like layman's terms, super basic. If Bitcoin does not form a strong higher low here, 29, like, I mean, I would even say 29.4. But maybe a couple $100, 29.1, 29.2. It can go a little bit below this line. A little bit below this line. That should be okay, and it's still strong. So maybe even 29.1. Yeah, 29.1 or so. But anything under 29.1 or 29, like 29 starts getting iffy, because then you're likely going to get trapped under the origin line, because this next line down needs to be hit. The rule's never been broken. So watch out for your analysis or personal decision making for your Pokemon card trading only. What you need to be paying attention for is the monthly and 3-month open. So take a look at those candle bodies, draw a line, and then if you usually play on the 1 hour chart, just keep the lines there from the monthly 3-month. That's step one. Second most important thing, the critical time for a higher low. And if Bitcoin cannot get it, and this would be an aggressive higher low, because a normal higher low would be like this, something like at the bottom of the trading channel. That should be good, but it's going to get trapped under there if that happens again, because this is a weaker push up. Does that make sense? Weaker than the previous two, because this is the third push. So if it goes all the way down here, it ain't getting back above it. Therefore, if you're super bullish, given that most of YouTube is, and you see Bitcoin go below 29.1, realize that if it doesn't immediately get back and make a higher high for this year, it's going to get trapped on this origin line, and this will have been a trap. However, if it sticks its landing around 29.4 and starts curling up, even on the 1 hour chart, then it's probably going to 35 to 38. That will be the next target, and it will go there fairly quickly over the course of 10 to 15 days. So that is your analysis. I hope you enjoyed it. New viewers, I hope I earned your subscription. And if I did, then go ahead and hit like. And most importantly, this is time-sensitive information. Hit the bell and hit all alerts so I can deliver time-sensitive information to you in a time-sensitive fashion. And feel free to check out the links in the description section and in the pinned comment about what the YouTube tier community is like and what the Discord community is like. There are links with a video for the YouTube tier to describe to you what it is and how it's different from Discord. And there are links to the Discord with visual instructions on how to join. And most importantly, if you want to join as a free member, you get my economic heat map every week as a free member on Discord. And I don't bug you with a bunch of sales stuff, like 7 alerts a week. I'm not going to do that. It'll be 1 to 3 a week if you're a free member. But as a free member, you'll see that when I think the market will move, so you can take a day off staring at the charts. Like, who else provides that? And my track record with guessing when there's going to be volatility is pretty hot. So if all else fails, if you're not in the mood for joining a community, which as in 2017, 2018, I never did either before I started YouTube, but that free membership could be of high value to you because it could put time back in your pocket. Very, very valuable stuff, and we'll see you next time.